Hi, this is Chris Brand, broker in charge here at Agent Group Realty. I'd like to keep this as quick as possible, but I want to tell you as much as I can about Dotloop. Here at Agent Group Realty, Dotloop is for all of our agents. It's not an add-on service where you can pay X amount a month. To have Dotloop to use, so you can use the e-signature. The e-signature is amazing. But we do a true loop from the very beginning to the end of a transaction. In other words, from your first signature, whether it's the buyer's broker agreement, the listing agreement, whatever it is, you can do your first signature here. When you do the loop, these forms will already be there, and as interactive forms, they'll be inside your template. Those are the forms you need. And this takes you all the way through closing. At the end, after all your documents are completed, if you're in Georgia or Florida, immediately after they're completed, you can submit a commission review folder, and a CDA letter will go to the closing attorney or the title agent. In South Carolina and North Carolina, we request that your document folder, when possible, be approved a couple weeks before closing, and we ask that you submit your commission review folder on the day of closing. The reality of it is all this can happen through this system. Of course, if you have contract questions, and stuff like that, of course, you call me, your broker, Chris Brand, 843-345-2932, or you send me an email at chris@agentgrouprealty.com. But if all is going well, you're an experienced agent, you can fly right through this whole thing with just one login from the beginning to the end. Okay, so to start, this page on our website, which is in a signature line of all my emails that I'm happy to send to you by email or through text if you let me know. It goes step by step, everything in black. Some people read this and they have no issues. They can complete the entire transaction just simply from reading this. But also here we have common mistakes in Dotloop. Those people make some mistakes the first time. But if you read this, it'll, one, keep you from making these mistakes, and two, it kind of gives you a different perspective. So when you read how to do it and you read about the mistakes that people make, you're kind of seeing it from different angles. So I recommend to all of our agents that they read this page up and down. Maybe you can skim it in 5 minutes, but maybe you want to spend 20, 30 minutes just sort of really thinking about it. Okay, but you should have access to this page. And like I say, you can email, text me, and I'll get you access to this page if not. But I just want you to see it here. Okay, so now I want to jump into Dotloop and show you some of this stuff through video. So just give me a minute. I need to share this screen with you. Okay, so this is Dotloop here. And I'm showing you, an agent, how it works. So I'm going to go to one of my agent accounts. I'm, of course, licensed in 4 states. So I have 4 admin accounts and I have 4 agent accounts. Just for fun, I'm going to do South Carolina. That's where I started. Okay. So to start a loop, you simply go to your, you log in, right? You click on loops here, loops right up top, and then add a loop. So this all works relatively the same, but I'm going to pick, I'm going to do a listing loop. Just for demonstration purposes. So I'm going to type an address in. I'm going to type an address in, 1356 Southern Magnolia Lane, Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. And this has been listed before with Charleston Trident MLS. So it's going to allow me to import a lot of data. Often this will be a case, and it's just it's very efficient. This was actually the first house I ever bought. I think I paid something like $211,000 for it. And it looks like one time it was listed at $995. So many people on the fence, they think prices are too high. Give it enough years, they always go up. At least that's been my experience. But anyhow, we see that this is sort of auto filling here. So we go to the bottom right, continue. We have to pick a template. Again, it's listing, and it's not land, so we just need a regular listing loop. Okay, so we pick that. Continue. There's a picture here because it's been previously listed. That won't always be the case. So if there's not a picture here, you can upload one, but it's not necessary. It's not a requirement of mine. But if you'd like to, just for fun, certainly you can. But there's a picture already here, so I'm just going to click done. Okay, I'm going to go to view the loop. Okay, here we have our commission review folder. This is done at the very, very end. After your document review folder is approved, and then you have your documents in your documents folders, your document folder. Here you see some are required, some aren't required. Of course, some of them that aren't required are often required. Say in South Carolina, for instance, you have your residential property disclosure statement. Well, if it's not new construction or an estate sale, it's required unless it states otherwise in a contract. But listen, sometimes we sell estates, sometimes we sell new construction. Paragraph 16 or 18, I don't remember, in the Maine, South Carolina Realtor sales contract, you can check a box and both parties can agree there won't be a seller's disclosure. So here I have it as optional, but sometimes, most of the time, it is required. Lead-based paint is required if built before 1978. So I can't say that it's required most of the time, but sometimes it is. But we have two choices as brokers when we set this up, optional and required. So if it's always required, I'm going to say it's required. But it's optional. I mean, if it's not always required, I'm going to say it's optional, even though it very well may be required. The one thing you got to understand here is you can't submit a document folder if there's any required items. So this is why I have the document review folder. You can drag things here one by one as they need to be reviewed. And I'll show you how to do this. And of course, if you get things like home inspections and so on, you should hold on to them. You should put them in your documents folders. If you have an MLS printout, that may be required in North Carolina, it wouldn't be required in other places, but certainly it's not a bad idea to hold on to it. But you don't need to submit it for review unless it's in North Carolina, of course. But these placeholders here, generally speaking, are what might be required. If there isn't a placeholder, probably it isn't required. But in some cases, like I say, the optional stuff can be required. In South Carolina, we have what we need. The next week or two, I plan to have what we need for other 3 states. Okay, but just to get started here, let's say we want, just for sake of explaining, say we want to submit this addendum. We have both the buyer's and seller's signatures. This is a ratified addendum, but it's the only thing that we want to submit right now. We can simply take this, drag it to document review. Then here we just click here. We scroll up to the top right, submit for review. We look for document review. And this is a listing. This is a listing, so it's listing review, and then submit. If I scroll back here, you'll see submitted, right? So on the broker end or the admin end, it'll show needs review. So if this is done, 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Um, so on the admin side, if we see it needs review, we look at it. All the signatures are there. Everything looks good. We click approve. And when we click approve, it'll show approved here. So the idea is all these forms that might be required, they need to be put up here and submitted, whenever they're available to be submitted. But once all the required documents are submitted, the broker, the admin, will approve the entire folder. At that point, you can, well, anyways, there's a requirement for the document review folder to be approved before you can submit a commission review. In Georgia or Florida, where we do paid at closings, where the buyer's closing attorney or title agent pays you directly, this needs to be done as soon as the documents are completed and the document review folder is submitted. A settlement statement isn't required for either of these to be submitted, and it's not a requirement for either to be approved necessarily, but we do ask that you submit the settlement statement to the document folder, sometimes after closing, within 24 hours of closing, if that's possible. Sometimes we might need it on the commission review. It depends on multiple variables, but we would like to have that longer term. Okay, so let's just pretend, just for the sake of argument, that this is a new construction. Well, all these are placeholders, but they also have interactive documents inside of them. So if you're working with a buyer and you sell a Lennar house, for instance, this interactive form, you're not going to use that because you're going to get a form from Lennar. So you're going to need to replace this, and I'm going to show you how to do it. And also keep in mind the way I have this set up. Well, say this is a listing, for instance, but we still have a placeholder for a sales contract in South Carolina's agreement contract to buy and sell, real estate, residential, SCAR 310. So that's what the placeholder is called. Of course, if we get a sales contract from Lennar, we still want to place it in here because this placeholder is here for a reason, correct? But this is a listing, right? So probably we're probably not going to be the one that initiates the sales contract. It'll come from a buyer's agent from, EXP or whoever, right? But nevertheless, it's still in here because it doesn't really harm anything to be in here. And who knows, maybe someone calls off the yard sign, and you represent those parties as customers or whatever. Somehow maybe you end up working with both the buyer and seller, so the forms are there just in case. So this is a listing. So say, we don't get a call on a sign. Another buyer's agent or a buyer's agent brings you a contract. It's ratified. Now you have it. Now it's sitting on your desktop. What you do here is you go to add document, then to browse, and you have file names. So, and you'll know what they mean because you have your own system. But I see Doc 1, and I know that's the sales contract for 1356 Southern Magnolia Lane. So I'll click here, and then you'll see there's Doc 1 in the documents folders. But this needs to go in the placeholder agreement to buy and sell, whatever. So I drag it here, I drop it. It says, would you like to replace this interactive form? Yeah, of course I want to replace it. So I click yes, right? So now that we got it here, it's not submitted. So we want to submit it. But the way the system is designed, I design the system. I'd like for you to drag it to document review, right? So there it is. It's drag to document review. So now you click here again, just like the other. You go to submit. You see document review, and this is a listing, so it's a listing review. You have to pick something to the right, and then submit. So now both of these are showing submitted, and on the broker admin side, they'll be showing needs review. Anyways, the broker or the admin will look at this about once a day. And they'll go through, it might be 10, there might be 20 there, but they'll go from the beginning to the end. Generally speaking, no one's sick or whatever. That's how it works. So within 24, 48 hours, just depending, typically this will be approved or returned. And if it's returned, I believe you get an email with an explanation, and perhaps you can actually see over here in the notes if you look at it this way. Okay, so I'm trying to think what else. But yeah, the goal is to get all the required documents. And again, what we need here, there's an explanation about exactly what we need. So once you see that the individual items are approved, the file is approved, this file is approved, and then finally the entire folder is approved, which you'll see here. Then you have permission to submit the commission review folder. Like I say, in North Carolina, South Carolina, you wait the day of closing. So again, we encourage you to have the documents approved as soon as possible before the closing, hopefully a couple weeks before, because we want everything to work out smoothly, everything to be efficient. But when you do this, you want to start with the CDR and then the CDA. The reason being is in Dotloop, many things autofill, right? So, so sometimes the CDA will autofill from the CDR. Okay, but anyhow, this was always a listing. So when we first made this loop, we should have immediately made it active. And then as we get it, we're not really going to do the whole loop, but I just want to kind of show you around here. All the different items you may do at some point. But when you first create the loop again, it should be active listing. When it goes under contract, it should be changed to under contract. And at this point, you should add a price and a closing date. So let's say this house, there's a bidding award, it goes to $1,100,000. Okay. And then let's say that it's closing, let's say today, because otherwise, if we're in South Carolina where this house is, why else would we be doing submitting a commission review folder or filling out the documents so that hopefully we can submit a commission review folder, right? So we need all of this in here because, again, we need this stuff for the autofill feature to work. And we just need it here anyways. So there's an order you want to do things. There's an order that'll be beneficial to you. And I'm trying, and you'll learn over time using the system, but I'm trying to share as many secrets as I know and I can think of. Okay, so I'm a little long-winded and I'm trying to go as quickly as I can, but we're going to pretend this document review folder has been approved. And we're going to pretend this the day of closing. So we're going to start working on this. And really, honestly, actually, you could fill out the CDR and the CDA 2 weeks before closing. It's not a problem. We just don't want you to submit the entire folder until the day of closing in South Carolina or North Carolina. For Georgia, again, as soon as possible, you should submit it, but not until the document review folder is approved. Okay, I'm going to click here on CDR. It's going to give me a chance to autofill. You can type stuff in here, but I'm just going to click autofill. Okay, so here's the purchase price of $1.1 million. I'm going to pretend I charged 6% on the listing. That 3% went to the Keller Williams agent. So I'm just going to put 3 here because 3 is all that's coming to my company on the listing side. So I click here, it fills in the commission total of $33,000. Okay, 100% of this goes to Agent Group Realty, which is auto-filled here. So 100% to Agent Group Realty, 100% to the listing agent, which auto-filled somehow here. And this can be edited if needed be, like say, I was sharing the commission with someone on my team. In this case, I'm going to pretend I'm the only agent and leave it here at 100%. And but of course, it's 100% less the sales broker fee. Here you have choices, sales broker fee, 2 sides. But the agent came from the buyer's agent came from another company or came from somewhere else. So it's just sales broker fee. And then I click over here. That auto populates the minus 300, shows where I'm at 32,700. And here on the bottom, it shows $300 goes to the broker. The recommended way with Agent Group Realty is to have the money wired. 90% of the time, it's not a problem. The second preferred way is to deposit the money directly into Chase. And also, if you call me and talk to me about it, there's a way you can send me a PDF copy of a check, and I can scan that too. I can deposit that, if you can assure me that you can destroy the original copy. But here you have to pick how we're receiving the money. When we're reviewing this in the mornings and you've submitted this commission review and we're looking at it, we need to know where the money's coming from. We need to match it up. So 90% of the time is a wire. So I'm going to say it's a wire in this case. I'm going to click that. So again, here we have the purchase price at 3%, 33,000. 100% to Agent Group Realty, 100% to the listing agent, less than $300, $300 to the broker. And for what it's worth here, if for some reason, I don't know, it's one of those weird deals where it's a $33,000 total commission, but $74 went to this guy and $89 went to that guy, and you don't know what the percentage is, you could just in theory wipe that out under flat fee, right? 33,000 or the number 32,000, whatever it is, and it was 27,500. You see that can be done as a flat fee, but I want to keep it here at the 3% for demonstration purposes. So I'm going to put it back there, and you still see 100% to the listing agent, less $300, 32,700 to the listing agent, $300 to the brokerage, and the funds are received from the closing agent. Okay, so I want to save. Okay. And then the last thing to do is the CDA. Hopefully it autofills some of this. So we click here. We autofill. Anyways, hopefully one day this will autofill more. It's something I'm working on. But we know it's $300 to Agent Group Realty. And we know it's $32,700 and 0 cents to me, Chris Brand. So then I save here. And here you see where the funds received, it auto-populates here. We have that set up right. And then there's a signature, but you don't sign. The admin or the broker signs. So we save. We go back. And we want to submit this commission review folder with all items. So we click here. Put checks next to all of them. We go up to the top right, submit for review, commission review. And this is set at commission review, but if it says buyer's review or something, you want to make sure it says commission review, because that's how we're going to find it the following morning, and we're able to pay you, provided the document review folder is approved and provided we receive the wire. Okay, so now I'm going to click submit. And you see again here, both of these are submitted. So I guess it's, kind of that easy. And typically the next morning, this is approved, a direct deposit set up into your account. If you're in South or North Carolina, Again, in Georgia or Florida, CDA is just sent to the buyer's closing attorney or title agent. But in South Carolina, it's simply deposited into your account the next day, and typically that clears at midnight of that day. If there's an emergency and you need money quicker, it can sometimes be done just depending on how busy we are at the office. I'm trying to think what else I can share with you. Oh, I want to show you one thing. Typically, the hope is most of the forms you'll need will be here. Most commonly used forms, you notice in South Carolina, for instance, we have agency templates and just standard templates. North Carolina, for instance, well, it's an agency state, so they're all agency, you know. But we try to be as accommodating as we can. We have separate templates for land and stuff like that. In some cases, separate templates for condos, and some places that makes sense. But occasionally you might need a form. And through Dotloop, if you are a realtor member, which you're supposed to be, you're required to be with Agent Group Realty in all states that you work in, you'll have full access to every form imaginable, every form that South Carolina puts out if you're in South Carolina, every form that Florida puts out if you're in Florida, same in North Carolina, Georgia, for instance. So let's just say, for instance, we did an addendum early on, maybe a repair addendum, and now maybe there's a bump in the financing, things were closed unexpectedly, hurricane or something. So we need to extend the contract by a few days, maybe a week even. And the buyer and seller, everyone's in agreement, so we need another addendum. Well, some contracts have like no addendums, some have 20 addendums, so we don't really know. So we just put one addendum placeholder. But if you need a second addendum, and you want that blank form, then you need to go into the Real Estate Commission library. And this is South Carolina, so I'll show you how we'll find it. And it'd be the same thing. It's just going to be a Florida Real Estate Commission instead of the South Carolina Real Estate Commission or whatever, right? So I'm going to go to Add Document here, but this time instead of Browse, I'm going to click Templates because we want to look for interactive templates. And I'm, of course, the broker of South Carolina, so I'm a member of almost every real estate board in South Carolina. Most of the time, an agent only needs to be a member of one, even if they're part of multiple MLSs in South Carolina. Most agents are just part of one MLS in South Carolina, but again, even the agents who are part of multiple MLSs are usually part of just one local board. But as a broker in charge, I am required to be members of almost all of them, or I need to be for various reasons. So anyways, we go through here and we find South Carolina Association of Realtors Interactive Forms. We click here. Up here, you can type in things like disclosure, stuff comes up, lead, and so on, listing, check, but in this case, addendum, it starts with A, so it's right up here. So I click here, I put copy, okay. And now here's my addendum again. So just for fun, let me click on this addendum. It gives you a chance to autofill some stuff. And this is mostly just coming from a previous listing in this case. But I click autofill, and you see here it does at least fill out the address. It doesn't have a tax map number. I think this is enough information up top. Of course, we want to maybe click here, agreement to buy and sell, because it's an addendum that the ad is not an addendum to a counter offer or whatever. Here, please, extend closing date to whatever, right? And save and And anyway, so you can start sending this for signatures. I mean, I think typically you just send it to your own clients and allow the other agent to figure out how to get to their clients and so on. But all this can be done through the system. On the main page I showed you, which again is my signature line, which I'm more than happy to text or email if you email or text me to ask for it. There's a number for Dotloop customer service. There's the link to the chat room. There's the email address for Dotloop customer service. We pay for upgraded support. You can move quickly ahead in the queue. Keep in mind, customer support can't tell you what contracts we need in South Carolina. It's not a real estate company. If it was a real estate company, it's really up to the broker in charge of a real estate company, a real estate office, to decide what is required. So they can't answer those kind of questions, but they are very good about the technical side. If you're able to separate that, you're of course more than welcome to reach out to me with questions as well. Sometimes it moves quicker if you go to the customer support. I meet with the customer support a couple times a month personally. But nonetheless, all that information is there on their websites. They have tons and tons and tons of training videos, like 2-minute videos about very, very specific things. If you need help, you could probably find it on your own. But if you don't feel like dealing with that, if you call them, more than likely they can email you the exact link or show you through the Zoom chat. And it's all on that page. Which is go back to it one more time. Again, right here, if you scroll down, you'll see the training videos, the chat if you prefer to chat online, the 1-800 number where you move ahead in the queue, the email. If it's not urgent, the email to get back to you. It's a little bit slower, but I mean, some things it makes a lot of sense. But if you want a quick answer, the phone or honestly the chat, I believe is very good. For some people, just glancing through these different videos here could be very good. Brokers, teams, agents. There's dun, 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 well, if you spend the time here, you'll find what you're looking for. Oh, here, this one, webinars, for instance. Okay, there's Dotloop 2.0 for agents, just very basic, maybe super basic, I don't know. Then basic training, advanced training. There's mobile app training. I mean, I'm not going to get into mobile app and stuff like that, but some people do contracts on the fly on their mobile phone, which might be a little challenging, but definitely not on the tablet. But you have to be trained in that. It's not 100% necessary, but they got Android and iPhone training here. It's like a 30-minute class. Some of the stuff like notarize your real estate documents, I don't see. You probably never need that. But this is a good system. It's just a good system. I'm not the best presenter, but I'm doing my best to make this as easy as I can. But keep in mind the page here. Okay, really, this is the page. Sorry, remember the black letters tell you step by step how to do it. The red is the common mistakes. And eventually this video will be placed on this page as well. Okay, well, I hope this video ends up being relatively short, under 30 minutes, but I don't know until I stop it. I hope it wasn't too long. I appreciate you taking the time to listen. I mean, a few minutes, half an hour studying this could save you hours and hours later. And for every hour you save, it's saving me like 3 hours. So, in all this stuff, it's just very, very efficient. So it makes me more efficient. It frees up my time to answer real broker questions what I actually am really supposed to be doing. And as far as you go, I mean, if you're not just selling one or two houses a year, or if your hope one day is to sell, I mean, some people sell one or two houses a year for the whole life. That's all they intend to do. But most people, I think, secretively at least, hope to sell many houses. If you're selling many houses and you don't have a system like this, you'll be working tremendously harder than you need to be. Like nobody that's selling 5 houses a month would intentionally be with a company that doesn't have these kind of tools unless they're just completely unaware. But this is the kind of stuff you really need if you're really um, going to one day sell a lot of real estate, or certainly if you're already selling a lot of real estate. So that's why we have it. We try to gear ourselves towards people that want to be successful. Someone wants to be a part-time agent with us. That's all they want to do. I mean, they follow the rules. I mean, of course, we're not asking anyone to leave, but to survive as a real estate company was what we charge. I mean, clearly we have to cater to agents that are selling. I mean, that's how the company survives. That's where the company's profit comes from. That's where my salary comes from, et cetera, right? So that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to cater toward people that really sell a lot of real estate or want to sell a lot of real estate. And of course, we want to help the part-timers, people that are sort of semi-retired too. But all this stuff works well enough for part-timers too, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But if you're like most agents that are thinking about their mind, they want to sell a lot, or you're a fortunate agent that is selling a lot. If you can take one step back to learn all of this, I really believe you'll go 10 steps forward much quicker than you realize. Okay, well, I got to see how I stop this recording here. Okay, but anyways, thank you so much for listening. And again, I hope this isn't too long. Thanks again.